Hey there, Pisces. It's Keaghan. Welcome to your general reading for December 15th through the 22nd. As you can see, I am doing a fairly specific reading for you guys. So each card that has been put down has a very specific meaning. I'm going to shuffle through a couple of times while I'm talking to you guys, and then I'll pull your overall energy for the week from the bottom of the deck. And then I have my Oracle deck as well, and we'll be picking two of those to go into this reading. So this is a reading for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising signs. If you're a Crosswatcher who clicked through on this, I just want to let you know this is being very focused in on the energy of the sign. So use this reading as insight into a Pisces if you're wanting to just get insight into what they're going through. You know, traditionally, I would say energies can be reversed, but it's probably not going to be like certain situations things feel reversed. It could be, though, because I set the intention before I sit down to record that whoever watches this video, I'm trying to tap into their energy. So if you were drawn to this reading as a cross-watcher, just know that what might actually happen is that this just speaks to you about what you are experiencing in your life, okay? So I'm just going to give this another shuffle and then do some cuts here. Okay. Pull from the bottom here. There's your overall energy. Hope you guys have been doing well. Let me know what you think about this reading after you're done watching it. Some of you who've been around on my channel for a while have seen me do this type of reading before, but if you're relatively new, then you've probably never seen me do this. It's a little bit different. So I will talk about what the cards represent, but a lot of what I'm going to do in this reading will be more of an intuitive read. So we're ready to go. We have all of our cards in place. I'm going to actually turn off this little overlay, but I will remind you of what all the cards mean as I'm working my way through them, okay? So Pisces, let's dive in and take a look at what's going on with you guys. So first card out, I choose to learn through love. Well, that's very Pisces. Water is also wet, right? So, okay. You know, we'll see what's going on with this. With some of the harder signs, with some of the, you know, signs that maybe aren't as comfortable with love and being in love and falling in love and all the feelings that come along with love, then, you know, I might say that this represents something surprising, but this just honestly just feels very Pisces to me, to be honest with you. I think that even when things have gone wrong, even when you've been hurt and disappointed, the great thing about your sign is that you just, your default setting is to go back into that notion of trust and love and wanting people to be happy and wanting to be happy yourself. And it's actually it's very beautiful. I know that it can sometimes turn around to bite you in the butt. But I think this is just saying, you know, if it's coming out here for you, for me, it's an indication that is the path forward, and that is the best way for you to approach things going into this week. Now, this is going to represent what's in your way. So something's blocking you from really being able to step into this. So let's see what this card is. You have the Ace of Pentacles here coming out reversed. Pisces. So Pisces, there is something that to you feels like it is an opportunity lost, an opportunity wasted. The other thing that I get here is that what's really blocking you, what's really making you sort of stuck with this and not being able to move on from it, is that you, in a way, you feel like you should have seen it coming, you should have known, you should have expected it, and you just didn't. And you're kind of being a little bit mean to yourself about that. You're really beating yourself up. It's interesting because, you know, like I said, this feels very Pisces to me, but it's almost like you've tried to cut this off is what it feels like. You know, the Ace of Pentacles, when it's reversed, just, it's that disappointment of something not happening, of something not manifesting the way that we wanted it to. This feels, Pisces, you know, I have to tell you, this does feel connected to a romantic disappointment. For some of you, if you haven't dealt with a romantic disappointment, and this will be for a small group of you listening to me, I think, but, you know, perhaps if you had a promotion that you were passed up for, or a job that you had applied for that you didn't get, or you were hoping to relocate for work and that fell through, it would be that type of disappointment. But for the vast majority of you, this feels like it's a relationship that you really wanted to work out and that you really thought was going well, and then suddenly it's just stuff came out of like, it almost felt like stuff came out of nowhere to you. But the truth of the situation, that was so weird. I swear I just saw something flash on my monitor. um, that was really weird because there shouldn't be anything, but something like, it was almost like something here. Not like a spirit or an orb or anything. It just looked like some sort of text popped up, and I don't know what that was. Okay. You can tell the ADHD is in full effect tonight. Pisces, with this, what I was saying is, you thought things were going well, you thought things were solid, you thought things were stable, and then it seemed like things just came out of left field, like it just out of nowhere everything fell apart. But once you were out of that a little bit, like once you got some distance from it, I feel like looking back at it, you were like, why did I not see that coming? Why did I not understand that that was what was going to happen? Why did I not see that person and what they were up to? And it sort of left you in a place where you were like, I'm not going to trust anybody anymore. Like, I'm too trusting. I'm too loyal. I love too much. And you just started being mean to yourself about that. But this is the universe actually coming through and saying to you, like, you can't truly change that, because it's just part of your being. It's part of your makeup. Now you can be a little bit more in touch with your intuition, a little bit more discerning, for sure. But you do learn in this life as a Pisces through love and the experience of love. So don't get too blocked by this, because it does feel very much like it's blocking you from being in this energy, which is very natural for you. Let's take a look at what's on your mind. So you have the Daughter of Pentacles. This represents the Page of Pentacles. It's come out reversed here. Well, so it's interesting. This card has a couple of meanings, but what I'm getting most intense from this is this card represents learning from things that are failures, learning from our failures, learning the lessons that come with things not going the way that we wanted them to. And I do think your mind is on that. That's what I was actually picking up on already. What I want to say, though, is that don't be mean to yourself about this. There's lots of hostility that I'm feeling, and I don't feel it. It's interesting because I don't feel it directed to the other person. Like, what it feels like to me is you sort of look at this person, whoever they are, and you see what they did, you see how they were, you see the game that they played, but it's almost like you look at them and you have, again, this is so Pisces. You look at them and you have empathy and you have compassion and you have sympathy for them, and you can forgive them, and you just, you look at them and you say, well, they've been through so much and they have so much pain and they don't know any better and they can't help themselves, and I'm not going to hold it against them that they did these things or said these things. But then you get really mean with yourself. And it's almost like, instead of, feeling all of the emotions and dealing with everything and processing through the disappointment of the situation, you're just trying to beat yourself up and make yourself out to be some, dumb person that should have known better and made this mistake. But, it was a mistake. You trusted someone and you cared about someone, and those things aren't bad. Trusting people and caring about people aren't bad. And sometimes we do misjudge people, and we invest in people that aren't able to invest back in us. And that doesn't mean that we're bad or broken or we deserve any sort of negativity in our life. It just means we made a mistake, and we have to accept that and move on from it. So I just want to say to you guys, like, don't get too in your head and don't be too mean, because I'm sensing a lot of hostility. And like I'm saying, it's not directed to the other person. I don't feel that. It's almost like you've forgiven them, and you it's like you see the other person, and it's almost like you want to go and give them a hug and say, you poor thing, look at how you hurt people, look at how you lashed out, and look at what you did. But then you're not extending that to yourself. It's very interesting energy. Let's see what's in your heart here. So you have the Seven of Pentacles here coming out reversed. So, Pisces, let's talk about this. So the Seven of Pentacles, when it's reversed, it's an energy of something that doesn't necessarily have the ability to go on for a long period of time. Something that isn't necessarily meant to go on for a long time. And again, it's very interesting in terms of this being what's in your heart. When you look at this Ace of Pentacles, you've come to grips with it. It's like you look at it and you think, okay, well, yeah, obviously that wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to play out in a way that it wasn't sustainable. There was no way of making that be something that could go on for years and years. This is such an interesting energy. I'm so curious about these cards because this is about like what heals and the lessons and the clarity. Um, because it's very interesting energy here. There's so much hostility. Like I feel it from the cards. Like I feel it from you listening to me. So much hostility. But there's not that much of a connection about this past relationship. It's like you aren't mad at the person, you're not angry with them. You look at the situation, it feels very realistic to me where you look at it and you go, well, yeah, we had all these problems. We had these things that got in the way, and, they had their issues. But then when you get to where you're like, and I had my issues, suddenly that's where that hostility comes in. And it's so like you're being so mean and aggressive and hostile towards yourself. It's like knock that off. Treat yourself. Learn the lessons, but learn through love, and that includes loving yourself and being kind to yourself. Okay, let's see what's guiding you guys. You have the Sun of Swords, so this represents the Knight of Swords. It's come out reversed here. Yeah, the Knight of Swords, the energy, it's interesting in terms of this being what's guiding you, okay? Because the energy of the Knight of Swords, when it's reversed, it's a very unfocused, restless sort of energy. It's a very impulsive vibe, okay? And so it almost feels like you're making decisions and you're making choices, trying to rush through things and break through and move on from things, but it's not working because again it's that issue with yourself. So I don't want to I don't want to go to the overall energy yet, just because there's something that I'm picking up just energetically, and I want to try to explain it to you guys. So Pisces, there are times for you guys when you let people off the hook for things that maybe they shouldn't be let off the hook for. And you forgive things that maybe ultimately should be forgiven, but should at least be earned. Let me put it that way, okay? It's almost like this energy to me is someone who looks at something and goes, God, that hurts so much and that was so disappointing and I just want to move on with life. And so I'm just going to put on my happy face and I'm going to go about life and move on. And I don't have any hard feelings towards them. I wish them well. I hope they're happy. And it's a lot of talk, right? It's just a lot of talk. And there's nothing really there to like back it up, because internally you have so much anger and hostility here, and the only place that you're actually directing it is towards yourself. But I do have to say there's some truth to you still being angry just in general about this. I think, again, when you think about this, you are being very emotionally mature in a way, because you're looking at this person saying, I forgive them, I'm moving on. They don't know any better, or they try, but they just don't have it. Like, you're really trying to give this person the benefit of the doubt. But it's like you're utilizing that as a way of trying to trick yourself into feeling like you're over it when you're really not. This feels like, how can I explain this vibe? It's like I want to move on from this. Like, that is the core to it. But you can't do that. You can't just wave a wand and be done with something and move on from it. You actually have to go through the process of moving on. but it's like you're wanting to move on so much and you're wanting to move on so quickly, and you're like, what's going on? I've forgiven this person, I've wished them well, I've done this, I'm holding them in my heart with compassion, I'm trying to be the bigger person. Well, yes, you're doing all those things, but those things don't necessarily guarantee to you that you're going to be able to move on, right? So that's what I get from this. And I just wanted to explain that energy a little bit before moving on to what the overall energy is for the week, because I don't want the two to be confused, because this is all very much about you. This is actually the energy of the week that's trying to come in to support you, how the week's going to feel for you. So I just didn't want to confuse those two thoughts. Okay. Let's take a look at the overall energy for the week. You have the Five of Swords here. Okay. So Pisces, I just have to be honest with you. As I've moved through this a little bit, I I wonder if you guys are playing a little bit of a game with yourself. Again, the energy that I'm feeling, it's very gracious energy, it's very forgiving energy, but this card coming out here is the overall energy. I just feel like some stuff's gonna go down. I have to be really honest. You know, the Five of Swords is really about really intense conflict. And it also represents an energy. I say this a lot in the readings. You might have heard me explain this before, but it's a situation where, two people put their hand like into a bucket, and one person says, this water is hot, and the other person says, this water is freezing. There's no agreement. It's like one person is, like, both of the people in this situation want to win, and they have such opposite opinions of what's happening and what's going on. And with this coming out in the position of the overall energy for the week, like, I just feel like this is some really intense conflict. Now, I will say this, it could well be internal. This could be you having a moment with yourself of saying, but you know what? I'm actually pissed. I'm really upset about this. I don't know if I can forgive this person. And finally having that moment of truth where you stop trying to be the, like, Pollyanna, polite, gracious type of energy, and you really allow yourself just to feel pissed off and angry. And you have this internal thing with yourself where you're battling between wanting to just move on from this and realizing that you have to actually be in it, that you've been a little bit stuck in it. But I also feel like this could be with whoever this person is. And it's interesting because if you've been presenting yourself to this person like, oh, I've moved on, I'm past it, I'm over this, I forgive you, let's just talk and hang out, and everything's cool. But if that's not true, when this person comes in and you're confronted with their energy of being like, oh, well, everything's forgiven and we don't need to talk about anything, you're going to come at them with so much aggression, because you're going to be like, how dare you act like everything's fine? And it's because you've been saying everything's fine. Like, this is what I'm getting. And if this doesn't resonate with you, like, this just isn't your reading. But I feel like some of you are actually laughing at this point because you're like, oh crap, this is really what I've been doing. Some of you might even have a situation in which you are actually going to hang out with this person this week. And I'm just telling you here, if it hasn't already happened, right, then before you see this person, before you deal with them, be honest with yourself, be truthful with yourself about where you're at with this, and whether you have actually forgiven this person and moved on from this, because I don't necessarily feel like you have. I feel like you've been telling yourself and telling them that you have, but I'm really not 100% sure. Let's move into these cards. I want to see what's going to heal for you this week. So coming out here, you have Strength reversed. Strength when it's reversed, it just represents energy where we're dealing with doubt and things. We're really feeling weak. Our pride is getting in the way. We have a lot of emotion that's really raw emotion. Okay. This is what's going to heal for you. Now, this is actually what I was sort of talking about already. I think you come to the realization that you actually have a lot of stuff still around this that you need to deal with, that you put on a brave face and slapped on a smile and said, I'm okay with all this. And you really weren't. So this is going to be dealt with this week. You're going to have to face the truth of the situation. And I do feel like it's because this person pops up. And I don't feel like it's like they've popped up out of nowhere. I feel like you've been You've been telling them everything's okay and saying, no, it's fine. We can talk. We can hang out. I'm over and I'm cool. Everything's fine. And it's not. You get confronted with this, and it forces you to realize there's stuff that I need to deal with. There's pain I need to feel. But, I have to say it would be really unfair to this person if you've been telling them everything's okay and then they do come back and they try to act normal and they try to act like everything's okay and everything's forgiven, and then you blow up. Like, that would be really unfair. I just have to be honest with you. So if this is resonating with you and you have made plans to hang out with this person, I'm telling you, either be upfront with them and say, hey, I've been thinking as we're getting closer to hanging out, and I think maybe like I need a little bit more time. Or say to them, I know that we haven't hung out in a while. As time's getting closer to us hanging out, I just feel like I do actually need to talk to you about some things. And I don't know if you're ready to talk about them. I don't even know if I am, but I wanted to see what your thoughts were on that. But don't ambush this person. Okay? Don't ambush them. Oh, Pisces. Okay, lesson learned. So you have the Five of Cups here. It's come out reversed. So let's talk about this. Very, very interesting. So the Five of Cups, when it's reversed, it really is focusing on a couple of things. One is moving on, like actually moving on from a situation. The other really is around forgiving yourself, figuring out how to forgive yourself for situations. So, I mean, I think that's pretty clear in terms of the lesson that you learned from this week. It's about allowing yourself to feel angry, allowing yourself to feel pain, allowing yourself to really not just try to put on that happy face and act like everything's okay when it's really not. If you need to feel something, if you need to feel pain, if you need to feel disappointment, feel those things. You're perfectly allowed to have access to those things. You don't have to always be up and happy and everything's okay and I'm really not hurting. Like, sometimes life gets us down and sometimes we need to feel the disappointment. Like, let yourself do that. That's what this is coming through for. Let's see the clarity that you gained this week. The Hierophant coming out reversed. I love this. So let's talk about the Hierophant when it's reversed. The Hierophant reversed is all about breaking out of things that are habit, breaking out of things that are routine, going against what's typically expected of us, really challenging the status quo of a situation. It's when we look at our own personal beliefs and we allow ourselves to question them and analyze them and change them. So getting clarity on this, again, this is continuing this overall story because you get insight that there are lots of times where you just go through the motions of acting like you're okay so that everyone else can be okay and move on. And then you're left having to still act like you're okay when you're not. And if you can get clarity around that and learn the lessons around it and really shift out of it, that would be so empowering for you just in terms of your life in general. So, last card here before we move to the last advice guides card. This is what to take with you from the week. You have the Mother of Cups, which is the Queen of Cups, coming out reversed. So the Queen of Cups, when she's reversed, is all about... we'll talk about the positive aspects of it first. So the positive aspects of the Queen of Cups reversed is we're dealing with our own internal feelings. We're sitting inside of those things. We're focused on our own self-care, our own love of ourselves. We're taking care of ourselves and making sure that we are okay. Okay, so that's the positive aspects of the Queen of Cups when she's reversed. Now, the more negative aspects of the Queen of Cups when she's reversed is it can represent a place where we're very needy, almost like a codependent type of energy. So what I feel from this is, in terms of what to take with you from this week and the experience of this week, Pisces, is the realization that you have to provide for yourself feelings of safety, feeling of security. You have to make sure that you are focusing in on your own needs, and that if you're hurt and upset, you're letting yourself feel that. You're doing the work that's required to actually clear that energy and be able to heal. And you're not just trying to like slap a bandage over it and say, okay, well, that doesn't exist anymore. Okay? The other aspect to this is realizing that if you're trying to seek that from other people, if you're trying to look at other people and say, I don't feel safe, so you make me feel safe, that's never going to work. That's never, ever, ever going to work. You have to figure out how to make yourself feel safe and prove to yourself that you have your own back. And that way you feel safe and secure, and then you can have safe and secure attachments to other people because you're not looking at them and needing some sort of like protection from them. Because when we're in that situation where we're trying to get protection from someone else, we're trying to seek safety or security from someone else, anytime they do anything that disappoints us or upsets us, it feels like a betrayal, and it makes the whole world feel unsafe because we're looking at that person as being our source of security. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Let's take a look at this. This is the last card. This is advice or guidance for you as you wrap up this week. There's a stream of love supporting my dreams. Very interesting. I do just want to say here, this card really does mean the things that you want in life, the things that your dreams, your ambitions, there's so much love and support coming in to support that. Okay. The other thing that I think here that I just want to mention, Pisces, is you kick this off with choosing to learn through love, and then you have here the stream of love that's supporting your dreams. I'm going to take this a little bit, again, like this whole reading is a bit more intuitive than, just reading a free shuffle type of reading. Pisces, pay attention to your actual dreams. Your actual dreams over the next week or so. Really pay attention to them. If you don't journal, if you don't have a dream journal, just put a little notebook or something next to your bed. Try to, when you go to sleep at night, tell yourself, I'm going to remember my dreams, or I'm going to wake up after I have a dream. Have that journal there so you can jot things down. Pay attention to them, because I feel very strongly like there's some guidance and insight that's wanting to come through, and the easiest route through is going to be when your mind is sort of still and you're quiet and you're processing things and during your dream state. So Pisces, pretty intense reading, but it works out well in the end. Be nice to yourself. I'm going to have to figure out what to title this video, because for the people who this is going to resonate with, I want to make sure that the title of the video really does bring it home to you what this reading is about. Because this is kind of complex. But if you liked this and it resonated, please give the video a thumbs up. Leave comments, hang out with each other in the comments, share your story, share advice, ask for advice, get support. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be doing one more round of readings for December, and then kicking off January, I'm doing 2020 prediction readings. So if you want to get notified when those go up, click subscribe, ring the bell. I'm also going to put the 2 Pisces readings for the month of December that came before this one up on the screen, so you can click through and watch those in case you haven't seen them. And I'll be back next week to do another reading for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still listening to me, I appreciate the people who hang out all the way through to the end. And I'll see you guys soon. Love you, Pisces.